Good morning. Hope everyone is adjusting to being back to school after Christmas break. I just want to remind you, you should have already checked page 315 with your teacher, and you want to make sure that you have your name on that paper and get that turned into him today. Mr. Wente will need that so that he can get those grades put into Skyward. All right, so today we are doing lesson 7, which is on page 317, and we are learning to divide fractions. I know we've done a little bit on that already. This is just taking that lesson a little bit farther. So we're going to start with the real world link here. It says 3 students are painting an art mural. The art mural is half painted. Use the picture after exercise 4. Divide the painted area into 3 equal parts. Okay, so first we want to go down here. We're going to divide this into 3 equal parts. Let's see. I'm not real sure where to draw my lines here to get this in 3 equal parts. Let's see. There's one, kind of, maybe, sort of. Okay. And then it says place an X over each part of the painted area. Well, hold on, did I miss a part? Divide it into 3 equal parts. Place an X over each part of the painted area. This represents the part each student has painted. Oh, no, I did that wrong. The painted area. Oops. I didn't read the directions. I apologize. Okay, let's start this over. All right. The painted part should be divided into 3 parts. So we want, okay, this is the painted part right here. So I need to put that into 3 equal parts. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. My lines are kind of crooked, but that's kind of 3 equal parts, right? Now it says put an X over the painted parts, right? Is that what it said? Okay. This represents the part each student painted. Okay, so each student painted a third of the half, right? Which is what we're trying to figure out the answer to. All right, and then what fraction of the whole mural has each student painted? Oh, I skipped that. Okay, then divide the unpainted area into the same number of parts. Sorry about that. So then 1, 2, 3. Now we've got 3 unpainted, 3 painted. Okay, so what fraction of the whole mural has each student painted? All right, so the whole mural then would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 would be the whole thing, right? But they've painted 1, 2, 3 sixths. So they've painted 3/6. Oh, each student then painted 1/6 because the 3/6 is the whole thing that's painted. Each student then would have painted 1/6. Okay, so that needs to be crossed out. So 1/2 divided by 3 is 1/6. It's also true that 1/2 times 1/3 is 1/6. Remember, we talked about that when you're dividing, you're actually multiplying by the reciprocal. Do you guys remember that word, reciprocal, the upside down or the opposite kind of that number? So it says compare and contrast the division problem and the multiplication problem. They're the same answer, right? Because we have the reciprocal of 3 is 1/3. Okay, so when we use the reciprocal, then we are doing the same thing. All right, let's go on to page 318. Okay, so to divide a fraction, oh, let me stop here. You guys will be getting a interactive notebook page today about dividing fractions, and it kind of folds up on the dotted lines like a flower. So you'll glue the back in, cut around the flower, I guess it is, the petals, and then fold on the dotted line so that folds in like a flower, and it will show you how to divide by a fraction. That'll help you quite a bit with this in case you get confused. Okay. So to divide by fractions, first, you want to multiply by its reciprocal. So remember whenever I said before, if I can find my pen here, that we keep, change, and flip. So we keep the first fraction, we change the sign or the operation. So instead of dividing, we're multiplying, and then we flip the second fraction. We want its reciprocal. So we flip that second fraction, okay? So this is showing the model like what we did yesterday. If you're dividing 1/2 divided by 1/3, you have 1/2. You cut the whole thing into thirds here, but you have the half shaded. And then you figure out what the shaded part represents as a whole, and it would represent a half of the third, which the half of the third would be 1 1/2, because you've got one of these thirds and then a half of a third. So you have 1 1/2 for your answer for that one. Okay. For method 2, it's a little bit easier, I think. I think you'll like this a little bit better. We do the keep, change, flip. So if we have 1/2 divided by 1/3, we're going to keep the 1/2. We're going to change the sign to multiply, and we're going to flip 1/3 to 3/1. Now you just multiply straight across. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. You'd have 3 halves, or if you simplify it, it'd be 1 1/2. Okay? So let's try some of the got it's. 1/4 divided by 3/8. We're going to keep 1/4. We're going to change that sign to multiply, and we're going to flip 3/8. Going to flip that thing upside down. So then we'll have 8/3. Now remember whenever we talked about canceling, when you're multiplying fractions, you can cancel. I don't know if you remember that. It wasn't that long ago. So if you look at the 4 and the 8, those can both be divided by 4. If I divide 4 by 4, I get 1. 8 divided by 4 would be 2. So then I would have 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. So my answer would be 2/3 for A. If you don't want to simplify first, you would have 8/12, and 8/12 would simplify to 2/3. You could do that as well. Now for B, if you want to pause here and go ahead and do B and C, you can do that and then check your answers real quick. I'm going to go ahead and work these. 3/8, and then the sign we're going to change, and we're going to flip. 3/8 would be 8/3. See if we can simplify. We cannot, can we? So 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times 3 is 9. And then that would be, let's see, 9 goes into 16 one time, which would be 9. And then we would have 7/9 left over, because that would be 9, and then 7 would be left. Okay, so 1 7/9 is what that would be for that answer for B. For C, we have 5/6, keep, change the sign, and flip. 1/3 would become 3/1. Now here we can simplify the 6 and the 3 diagonally. Divide them both by 3, and you get 1 here, 2 here, multiply straight across, and you have 5 over 2. 2 goes into 5 2 times, which is 4, and I would have 1/2 left over. So 2 and 1/2 would be the answer there. Okay. All right, let's go on to page 319. 319 says write a story context for 2/3 divided by 1/6 and use a model to solve. So they used the model. We don't want to do too much with the models. It says Mariska has 2/3 pound of sunflower seeds. Each day she feeds the cardinals in her yard 1/6 pound of seeds. For how many days will she be able to feed the cardinals? So they used a model. I would rather us just do the regular multiplying or dividing fractions. So 2/3 divided by 1/6. Let's just do that normal. So we have 2/3, keep, change. Then we're going to flip this, 6 over 1. We can simplify here, or we can wait and do it at the end, whichever you prefer. I like doing it right here. So 3 and 6 can both be divided by 3. So that'd be 1 here. 6 divided by 3 would be 2. You'd have 4 over 1 or just 4. Okay. So let's go down here and look at this one. Write a story context for 3/4 divided by 1/8 and use a model to solve. Let's just solve it. Okay. So 3/4, keep, change the sign, flip. 1/8 would be 8 over 1. We can simplify. 8 and 4 can both be divided by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So we have 6 over 1. The answer is 6 for D. All right, now for the second part here, divide a fraction by a whole number. Remember, a whole number always has a 1 underneath it, so you just need to put a 1 under the whole number and then do the same, keep, change, flip. So 5/7 divided by 10, remember the 10 would have a 1 underneath it, right? So you'd have 5/7, you would change your sign to multiply. The 10, you'd flip that, and it'd be 1/10. And then they simplified before they divided. 5 and 10 can both be divided by 5. So then you have 1 times 1, which is 1, over 7 times 2, which is 14. So you have 1/14 for your answer. Okay. So let's do some of the got it. Let's do E up here. 8/9. We're going to keep that one, change the sign to multiply. 4 is 4 over 1, right? So we're going to flip 4 over 1, and now it's 1/4. And then we can simplify. 8 and 4 are both divided by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So we have 2/9 for the answer for E. Okay. And again, if you want to pause this to work F and G, you can do that and then come back. Okay. So that was E up here. F, let's do here. We have 4/5. Keep, change the sign, and then 8 is the same as 8 over 1. So I'm going to flip that. I'll have 1/8. So now 4 and 8 can both be divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 2 is 10. Our answer is 1/10 for F. Okay. And then G, 12/13. We're going to change that divide sign to multiply. 4 is the same as 4 over 1. We're going to flip that, and it'll be 1/4. And then we look to see if we can cancel. And yes, we can. 4 and 12 can both be divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I get 3 over 13. So that's my answer for G. And that's as hard as it gets, folks. Not too difficult. Okay, so let's go on to page 320. 320 has a word problem, which you do the same way. Ramon is making party favors. He's dividing 3/4 pounds of almonds into 12 packages. Write and solve an equation to find how many pounds of almonds are in each package. That would be 3/4 divided by 12. So you put 12 over 1. And then we do the keep, change, flip, 3/4 times 1/12. You can simplify the 3 and 12, both divided by 3. And you would have 1 times 1, which is 1, over 4 times 4, which is 16. So there would be 1/16 pound of almonds in each package. And you'd want to make sure and label that. 1/16 pound would be your answer. Okay. Um, so let's go to page 321, which is your homework. And you are going to do 1 through 10 on this page. These are exactly the same. The keep, change, flip, you might want to write that on your page before you even start. Keep, change, flip. If you have that written there, you'll remember to do that. Keep, change the sign, flip the second fraction upside down. Now for number 7, I don't want you to use a model. I just want you to just solve. So I'm going to cross this out. And I'm just going to say solve. That's all I want you to do for that. Just solve it the way we did the others, okay? Number 8 is a word problem. You're just going to solve that. Number 9, also word problem that we're solving. You're using this chart. Remember to look over there to the chart to use that to find your information, okay? And then number 10 is just another word problem. So you have 10 problems. Shouldn't take you too long to do that. Now remember, if you're not wanting to use the work page to do your work on, we have some of those in the drawer. If you don't want to use those, I need you to draw a line here and here to box this off, okay? And I'll want you to do that for all of them. That way your work stays in those boxes, okay? So if you're not using the work page, please do this. Okay. And the homework will be due tomorrow. And you'll be grading that in class and doing the same thing, turning it in. So make sure your name's on it. You might want to put it on there now. And where it says my homework, if you guys could put the date, that would help me quite a bit. So today's date is 1/5/22. You can put that on there. 1/5/22. Okay. So if you put that on there and your name, then when you turn that in, we'll make sure to get that put into Skyward. Okay. And just a reminder, make sure you're not getting behind on homework. We want to keep things turned in on the day they're due. 10 problems is not a lot to do in one night. You can get that done during study hall, no problem. Okay. We're going to work independently on this today. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me. You can email me, or you can ask Mr. Winty or Miss Westbrook. Thanks, and have a great day, guys.